topic number 3 tonight is someone help me understand why so many black people still cling to the religion of their oppressor. By the way, if you're new here tonight, pinned to the top of the chat is the link. I see Cam Javerse out in the chat. Click the link and join the panel and have your thoughts heard as well on these topics. Anyone can join. Anyone who's black anyway can join. Let me mix it up a little bit. Buana, try to help this person understand. What say you?
I don't know why people still I don't know why people still cling to the religions that they was taught by their oppressor, because it is something that is institutionalized in their mind. We black people in the West have been sitting in the classroom of so-called white supremacy. I call it white indoctrination and propaganda for 400 years. And in that classroom, we have been told that Jesus, this white guy who looked like a hippie, is God. The black man is a monkey. And when they found the black man in Africa, they found him with a bone in his nose. And, God bless slave traders, because they brought the uncivilized African from the continent of Africa to America, where he could be properly civilized. So he's been in our classroom for 400 years, being indoctrinated with that kind of mindset. So of course they would cling to that. But the world is gradually changing. And with the so-called information age that we are currently living in, more information is being put out there as to the other side of the argument. The other side of the argument, where there was a time when only the conquerors was being able to weave narratives. Well, now the people who they conquered are able to weave some narratives now. Now they're able to tell and express their stories. And unfortunately for the conquerors, the people are listening to different kinds of stories. And they're understanding that, well, we have been put in a situation where we've been propagandized and the world is a bluff. The world is built on bluff. So now we must do away with the fanciful notions that we have been told for different kinds of reasons. Because they've been to Africa and they say, close your eyes and pray. Everybody close their eyes and pray. And when they open their eyes, they had all the land, all the conquerors had all the land, and we just had this Bible, this book. And we hold on to this book while they hold on to the land, and they use it exclusively for themselves. But the die has been cast now. The die has been cast for many intelligent people, for many informed people. And this internet has given many, many people access to sing a different kind of story to the rest of the world. So for some black people who will cling on to that, they will die holding on to that. But other people, we're going to let go of that fantasy. And we're going to realize that we are in a competition and we have a right to all of the resources on this planet, just as everyone else is. And if we have to fight for these resources to create a heaven for ourselves, that's just be something we have to do. But as far as this whole idea of we having a better life or better living after we die, this is something that our grandmothers hold to themselves, hold it close to their chest, and they die without ever having experienced some level of heaven on this planet. But we are fighting currently for this planet. We are fighting on this planet right now while we exist on this planet materially to build a heaven for ourselves. So, for the people who want to cling and hold on to that, let them hold on to that. But for us, we living in a real material world, and we're going to let go of that fantasy, and we're going to build a heaven for ourselves. Even if we have to compete with these gangsters. This guy called, and like I say, say voodoo is he say voodoo, you practice voodoo and go to hell. Now I can have intellectual arguments with my brothers internally when we talk about African religions and stuff, but when the outside world demonize African religion, that's when I get into it. You could talk about, we as brothers, we could talk among each other, we could criticize each other, but when outsiders start criticizing us, that's when I get into it and say, no, you stop right there. You ain't gonna criticize the religions my brothers them will hold on to. The African religions they will hold on to. I may not practice it, but that's something you ain't gotta bother with. Don't demonize that. Go worry about your white Mary and Jesus and Italy and Rome and all that business. Don't bother with my African spirituality. If my brothers them want to practice voodoo and Ifa and all the other religions, that's their right to do so. And I'll protect them on that front when the outside world want to come in, because everyone else does that. So that's where I stand on that. But I'll stop there because I'm ranting. I'll stop.
That's all good. I appreciate that, Buana. Let me hear from Brother Bakari. Brother Bakari, what say you?
May white God bless you, Coco. Look, I'm a simple person, so I keep it simple. Like I said earlier, the conqueror make the rules, the conquered follow. The oppressor is Christian, so therefore the oppressed is gonna follow. It's simple. It's plain. It's plain and simple. The same reason you'll see a lot of them with what's it called? Islam. A lot of them. And that's just it. The reason we follow their ways is almost like asking, why do we still speak their language? Because it was the conqueror made the rule and the conquered followed. Everything that you knew about you, they did all of that to strip away from you. Now there's some stuff that's still the way we eat. When we eat food with our hands, collard greens and cornbread. Look at our people on the continent. Some of that stuff we kept, but we didn't know exactly where it came from until we got older. So they stripped you. They took everything from you. Because everybody keeps saying the Christian. I have heard a Christian say they'll rather be, thank God for slavery, because if it wasn't for slavery, they'll be in Africa worshiping a tree. I heard one Christian say that, a Christian preacher. But everything that's in when he put in the chat that it sounds like an atheist. It does, because that Christian, that white Christian, has invalidated everything about an African system. And if you listen to atheists, they invalidate everything as an African system because it's not scientific. And that's what, but Trigger Happy 262 who put that, he is absolutely correct. I hear him say it all of the time. So when they said that white Christian sounds no different than a black atheist, for the most part, he's telling the truth, because it will be black Christians that ain't gonna say that crazy stuff that some Christians say. That's why I say some Christians, I try not to group people together like that. But just to get close out, they cling to this religion because the conquerors make the rule and the conquered follow. On that, I get him.
I appreciate that, Bakari. A lot of comments in the chat. Kanjaverse is saying Western science is destroying the environment, and African science, that is impossible. Trigger Happy says only Western science can accelerate the destruction of the planet through climate change and things like Agent Orange. So good discussion. That was just a snippet of what all has been going on in the chat so far. But again, if you're listening to the playback, or if you're listening to the show and not watching your screen, pay attention to the chat. I don't know, my computer's acting very laggy right now. Pay attention to the chat. Very interesting conversations. With that said, let's hear from Black Steel on it. Black Steel, what say you?
So, so he mentioned about some black people in the audience when he was saying that. I don't know how you could be a black person with any level of self-respect and not walk out at that exact moment. But hey, this is what when you follow Judeo-Christian and European beliefs, they teach you to hate yourself. You know, he was talking a lot of nonsense. Truth be told, he's really sounding like a lot of these right-winger, evangelical, Republican Christians in the U.S. Like, you know, you didn't experience slavery. You didn't experience segregation. Shut up. What you complaining for? And he ignores, first of all, my mother experienced segregation. So it wasn't like it was 100 years ago. My grandmother grew up during Jim Crow. So it wasn't like something that was such in the distant past. No. We're talking about our parents. My father was one of the first classes to go to a integrated high school here in the U.S. So that noise that he's talking about, oh, is a long time ago. It doesn't really affect you. So, you know, that's some of the bullshit I like to say, is that we're dealing with some ancient history, and we're really not. Another thing he said is that, you know, stop complaining. You know, these people want you to suffer in silence. You know, they don't mind doing the shit, but they got a problem with you saying something. This is not me endorsing the Black Lives Matter organization. They're crooks. But just when the slogan itself became popular, how angry that made them, how they felt the need to respond and diminish that statement. Oh, blue lives matter, all lives matter. You know, every type of bullshit they could say to diminish a simple statement that acknowledges our history. Just the way they reacted to the whole critical race theory and all the other anything, the 1619 project, they really want to make it seem like, oh, we're just complaining. It happened a long time ago. Why can't you get over it? Why can't you just do better? And, you know, look at the Lord Jesus, a heal exception, all the other bullshit that this dude was talking. That's a pretty common thing. Get out of my face, dog. That's a pretty common thing that these white folks like to talk about. But I think you put it all under the guise of Christianity. Now, you know, like I said, I've never met an atheist who said that Black people benefited from being captured in slavery. You know, atheists don't believe in any type of deity, but I've never heard them say, you know what, we're better off now than we would be in slavery. Because if we had been in slavery, we would have no knowledge of the Lord Jesus. You're not going to hear atheists really say that. You're going to hear maybe atheists benefit and talk about as far as, you know, some sort of scientific benefit. They're not going to say, oh, slavery was a good thing because now we have a knowledge of Christ. Now we're not going to hell. They were free, but they went to hell. And this sort of thinking is what kind of drove me away from Christianity. How you condemn somebody to eternal torment because they never heard of you. So in his mind, an African could go to hell because they didn't have any knowledge of Jesus. And that's totally okay. That's totally fine. If you didn't hear about Jesus and you live your life, it don't matter, you're going to hell anyway. That is, to me, that's kind of what drove me away from the religion. The idea that this God of yours is truly a narcissistic bully. And when you really look at it from outside looking in, like, you realize it's all bullshit. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Black Seal, did you happen to catch Trigger Happy 262's comment on last week's episode?
I did. It was a lot. I did read it. Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm.
All right. No. Just was checking because I tried to tag you, but I wasn't sure if it was you that was tagged. Does anyone want to add any last thoughts on this prompt? Because if not, we'll go to Shoot the Breeze subject number 4 tonight, which stays on the subject of spirituality / religion. We're going to listen to Baba Amos Wilson on this one. This came with a link. We share the screen. So